Hey guys, what's up? It's Autobot John, and just coming at you tonight, trying to do a live stream. Was going to do one last week. I told everybody in my last stream that I had family business going on, so didn't get a chance to get online. I was going to do it last night, but I had a very long week at work, and so kind of passed out last night. Tonight's discussion will be 1.6 related. We can talk anything from customs, techniques, what kind of paints to use, herring methods, anything like that. And if you want to talk hot toys, sideshow, collectibles, stuff like that. I don't really collect hot toys, but I have a few. So, and I always love looking at their products. They're getting better and better. But we can discuss anything related to 1.6, sale wise, anything like that, questions. Hopefully, some of my buddies will kick in and join. I don't know how to set up like video chats like we used to do, but maybe someone can fill me in on how to do that. But until then, I know I can read comments. So come on in and join if you want to. So basically, just discussing stuff I've been up to as of late. I just started getting commissions as of last year. So far, most of my customers are work related or old friends, but they're very happy with their work that they got. Nothing major, but I did get one big major project. I will not discuss who it is, but it's a full figure, and it's going to be of Season 8 Rick Grimes. This is the sculpt so far. I've still got a little bit of work to do on it, but this is a recasted Damn Toy sculpt I got on eBay. It came completely in like a pale white color, resin, and I painted it, added the real hair to it, the real beard, and I'm styling it right now. But this is the. And then for a personal project I'm working on for my personal collection, I've been dying to make this character for a long time, and I got a good deal on this sculpt. It's supposed to be very rare. I don't really know about it, but I paid quite a bit for it and some other sculpts. This is my Sylvester Stallone Cobra sculpt. Just now finishing the skin tone, working on the beard. I'll probably lighten it up a little bit because it wasn't that dark. Made him a mini match out of an old toothpick. And I'm working on his glasses, which these are just stand-ins because I have better glasses coming. They cost quite a bit, but they're going to be worth it because they're going to be made of real metal. But your disease, I'm the cure. So I can't wait to finish the sculpt. I won't be able to put him together anytime soon because I have to buy stuff for mission piece still. So, the customer comes first. So, yeah, we will. I'll get back to Stallone, but I do want to get him painted up at least. So basically, I would just like to talk and see if anybody wants to chime in. And, if you're working on projects of your own, I'd like to see them, or, you can discuss it. One, if you're listening, I'd love to hear what you're up to, horror-wise related. And yeah, let's just talk. So I'll give it a minute, see if anybody wants to jump in. Like I said, I'm new to this streaming thing, so I don't really know how to go about trying to invite people. But I guess we will see how it all works out. So yeah, well, let me give you a background. So back in, I think it was 2006, 2006, 2007, around that era, I did my first custom figure. It was Superman Returns, I believe it was. What it was is I had just seen the movie, and I think it was 2006. I may have the year wrong, and I don't have time to look it up, so don't worry about that. But it was a Superman figure. I remember the figure. It was about, I think it was around 15 some inches. It was tall, had joints and everything. It was just a cheap figure at Walmart, but I wanted to try painting for the first time, and I had seen all these cool customs online, some Supermans, Batmans people had made, and I wanted to try it. Well, at that time I did have a job, but I wasn't making enough money that I could go and order. And then eBay it had just really become real popular at that time. So a lot of people, I wasn't really using it at that time, so I didn't know where to get parts and stuff like that. So anyway, I bought this figure. I painted the sculpt the best I could at that time, and I'm happy with it. And then a buddy of mine that I worked with, I took it to work to show everybody because I was really happy with it, and they didn't like it. They told me it was crap. They told me that the paint job was terrible, and it hurt. I'm not going to lie. It really hurt, because I really had tried my best on it, and I was a beginner. So I quit. I kind of got upset over it, and I quit. And it was a couple years later that I tried it again, and I tried it with my very first 1/6 custom was Bruce Willis from Live Free or Die Hard. And I found this really bad sculpt of Bruce Willis on eBay, and it just, to me at that time, it looked good, but if you look at it today, it just was crap compared to what the sculpts look like today. I think it was from the Dragon Company. I don't know if anybody remembers those. The first real 12-inch figures that had posability were called Dragon Soldiers or something. And I bought a bunch of those bodies, and I made a bunch of figures out of those. But Bruce Willis was my first custom that I did, and a lot of people liked him. And I liked it for that time. And then I kept going. I took some of the Hasbro 12-inch Star Wars figures and took the clothing off and the sculpts, repainted them, put them on dragon bodies to give them more articulation. And they came out really good. And I just kept going. I bought some of the Sideshow Collectibles Terminator 2 Judgment Day figures, repainted the sculpts, did some modifications to one of them. I actually took a Dremel and cut the face off and then sculpted the endo damage, because at that time there wasn't one. Because NECA hadn't even come out yet. And if they were out, they weren't anything close to what they are today. Hot Toys was around, I believe, but their figures were really expensive for that time period, and they weren't the best, and you had to put them together. Because I remember the first Hot Toys that I bought, but I sold it. I bought what was it? It was the Lost Predator, I believe it was, from Predator 2, and you had the body came, and then you had all the accessories and the sculpt and everything. And you basically, it was like a model. It didn't come together like most figures do from Hot Toys today. You had to actually build this thing. You had to put the netting on it. You had to put all the necklace pieces on it. You had to put the wires on it. And it was fun and everything, but and it looked really good. But I went and repainted that and tried to make it look like the Predator from Predator 2, the actual main Predator with the stripes and everything. And it looked really good, but, I just kept going. I was into the painting thing. And then let's skip ahead to when The Dark Knight came out. I basically made my own Joker of Heath Ledger, and the sculpt, I can't remember exactly where I got it. It was just a Heath Ledger sculpt, and I went and put the scars on myself. Now, remember, at this time, when I'm making this Joker, There were no photos of him yet because they kept him a secret until you went and saw the film. And what photos you could see of him, you couldn't really make out the scars too well. So you basically just had to wing it. And that's what I did. I set it up. I made it. It looked really good. In fact, I gave that custom to my brother. He still has it to this day. And the Batman, I believe. And then I took another Joker sculpt and did the same thing. The version 1 Hot Toys sculpt, I bought it. And I did the same thing. And then I wanted to try something really different, and it was called hair. Now, this time I'd seen some sculpts on eBay that people had put the real hair on. It looked really good. So I wanted to try it. I tried it, and I thought it looked really good. And to this day, I will never forget this. There was my friend, you all know him, Odell, came up and literally commented on my video that it looked like shit. Now, did that hurt? Yeah, it hurt me a lot, and I was upset with Odell for I was upset with him for quite a while because he kept going back on all my other videos of my work and leaving comments, and some other people left comments, and it was really distracting. It was really frustrating. But fast forward, I'm glad they did, because see, the one thing about an artist, and I think any artist can relate to this, is in your eyes, your work is great. You think you did a good job. You think everything's good. To another person's eyes, it's a different story. They may look and say, well, that looks like shit. That doesn't look like the character at all. Like, some people may look at this and say, well, that doesn't look like Andrew Lincoln. That doesn't look like Rick Grimes at all. And you just have to learn as an artist how to take comments. The way I take comments is, not everybody's going to like your work, and that's just how life goes. But you can either sit there and take those comments and go, well, this, I suck. I'm going to just quit because nobody likes it. Or you can take it and you can use it as fire to inspire you to keep going, to do better. Because if you look at my work now compared to 10 years ago when I was starting, I've improved so much. But I'm still not at that level I want to be. I'm getting there. And, some people will look and say, well, you've been at this for 10 years and you're still not where you want to be. I don't think any true artist is ever at the spot they want to be, because you always are improving. You're always seeing where you made a mistake, or you're seeing where you could have done something better. I've done about 9 Ricks in my collection, for my personal collection. And each time I did them, I feel like each time I make a new one, I get better and better. And that's kind of the message I'm trying to give to the young aspiring artists out there in the 1/6 scale game. Don't expect to start off and hit a grand slam, because there are very few in our profession that have done that. And they probably didn't start off with a grand slam. Don't expect to hit a home run. Now, there are some people out there that are just critics, period, and they're going to tell you your work is terrible, even if it's great. And that's just how these people are. You just got to deal with it. Everybody gets their opinion. Everybody has they have the freedom to express their opinion. But don't ever sell yourself short, though, because if you do, you will not succeed. Because if you let people get to you, you will not step forward as an artist, because you'll doubt yourself every time and everything you do. So my message is to all the young aspiring artists out there, and just the artists, period. Even if you've been around in this game for a while, just do your thing, man. Just do it and have fun with it. Try to keep improving. The more you practice, the better you get. And don't let people get you down, man. It's almost like life. Just don't let people bug you. Don't let people's comments trouble you, you know? We live in a world today where you are told you have the freedom to do things, but you don't. And the moment you try to say something, you're kind of the enemy. You're kind of outcasted, you know? So this is the one thing that I say that you should be able to express how you feel, and people should be able to express how they feel about your work. Now, yes, it's going to suck, of course, if you get out of 10 comments, 8 people hate your work. Well, that just means that you've got to work harder because they're seeing something that you're not. And I always say that the worst critic of artists is the artist, because in his eyes, his work is good. He will never look at his work and say, man, that is terrible. So it is always good to get somebody else's opinion. But at the same time, I have said this before, you don't like somebody's work, then put a comment saying, hey, I think this doesn't look that people. And it's sad that we have people like that in this community, but they exist, and you just got to learn to deal with them, or you got to block them like I do. You don't like somebody's work, there's a nicer way to tell them. There's an easier way to tell them. And, some people's comments are not there to hurt you. It's to tell you, it's to help you improve on your skill. I'll give you another perfect example. A very good friend of mine who taught me a lot about painting and where I was making my mistakes. In fact, he's one of the main reasons that I can get my skin tones to come out the way they are now. Thomas Turbank, very good friend of mine, told me few years ago, or I'm sorry, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, yeah, it's been a while, that my skin tones looked like Simpson characters, that they were too dark, that they were too bright, they looked orange. And he was right, but I thought they looked good. So now, with the techniques that him and other people have shown me and taught me how to do, I'm able to get the skin tones to come out right, to look the way they're supposed to, instead of a Simpson character. Now, that came from positive comment. It was a negative comment that was meant to be a positive comment. And that's the other thing. If you don't have a backbone, if you can't take a punch, if you can't take people commenting and criticizing you, you won't make it in this. You won't make it in this 1-6 business trying to become a painter, because you will let people get to you. You got to learn to let that shit roll. Or I'm sorry, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I know this is age. I put where anybody can join this, so apologize for that. You got to let that stuff roll off. You can't let it get to you. And don't. I made this mistake. Don't jump into this business and expect to be making thousands of dollars like some artist. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen. I know certain artists, and I won't name names, but they literally, this is what they do for a living. They support their family off of their work. That is cool as crap, and I would love for that to be my business. I've always said my dream in life is to wake up in the morning, get a bowl of cereal, sit down, eat it, and then go to work at home, and all I do all day is paint for people. That would be awesome. That's my dream. It's a pipe dream because I'm a realist and know that that's not going to happen more than likely. It may, but as of now, no, it's not. And so I have to work a normal job like every other person on this planet. So if you are getting into this business or the painting 1/6 scale business to become rich. Well, keep at it if you want to, but just don't go crazy when it doesn't happen, because it doesn't. It just doesn't happen. Commissions don't just fall into your lap. You got to work hard at it. I mean, hell, like I said, I've been at this for almost 10, 11 years, and as of the last 2 years, I finally started getting commissions. They're not high-paying commissions. I'm not making the big bucks like other artists are. Like, we won't name names, but everybody knows who these people are. But I'm starting to get some people interested in my work. I'm getting more and more people asking me for stuff. And so it means that finally I might be breaking through. But after 10 to 11 years of hard work, I think hopefully it's about time. But if you just started out, don't expect that to happen unless you're a fluke. Now, there are some that I've seen come. They paint their first sculpt and it's amazing. It's like they've been doing this their whole life. And for those people, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I wish I had been like that. But for me, it just takes hard work, and it is very hard work. For instance, I will go ahead and tell you, to make a sculpt like this, not only do you have to paint it, but then you have to go and you have to add the beard. Then you have to do the hair. The beard alone took up to 4 hours because they're individual little hairs that are glued onto the face one by one. Then once that's done, you have to wet it down to get it to lay the way you want it. Then after that, you have to take little mini scissors, clippers, and you have to style the beard. You have to cut the strands off. The hair, it took me all day. I started this morning, and I finally finished it about, I think it was around 8:15. And there's one by one, styling them. It takes forever, but by the end of it, you have a piece that you're proud of. But that's how much work them figure. Perfect example. I'll give you another example, and it's an example. So I made a few years back. I made a custom 1/6 Rick Grimes figure from The Walking Dead from season 5. He was the Constable version. And here, I'll show it to you real quick, because I don't think I've ever shown this on video. All right. So this is the custom Constable Rick Grimes that I made from season 5. The sculpt is a Jacob and Robert Ramirez sculpt that I repainted, or not repainted. It came unpainted. I painted. I'm sorry. I added the hair. The clothing is custom made by an old friend of mine. Everything else is either bought online, and I painted the boots, and the shirt I dyed to make it the Constable look. But anyway, so I had a guy hit me up a few years back, saw me when I put pics of this online, and he wanted me to make him one. The full figure, not just a sculpt. And of course, I was very interested. I was ecstatic, actually, because it would have been my first commission. So anyway, the guy hits me up. He wants to know how much it's going to cost to make him one. And I tell him, okay, I'll do you one. And it's going to cost you about, I said $350. Now, take into consideration that I'd have to rebuy another sculpt. I'd have to buy more hair. I'd have to get my buddy to make another coat for me. I'd have to find it again and re-dye it. So it's a lot of work. I told him $350. He told me that was ridiculous. And I just kind of said, okay, well, that's pretty cheap, actually, compared to some other people. So I told him, I said, if you ever change your mind, I'm still interested. I'll make you one, and I'll keep the same price. And he told me that I was being unfair and that I should lower my price. And at that point, I said, okay, that's fine. But that's just an example that some people think that prices are unfair when it comes to custom figures, but they don't stop to think of the work that goes into making one. Now, another thing that I'd like to discuss is the difference between a custom and a kit bash, because for years I've had people who have left me comments saying, hey, you did a nice kit bash, and I got upset with them and said, no, this is not a kit bash. Now let me explain the difference, because there's a lot of people that don't know the difference in this. A kit bash is, for instance, when you buy a clothing set with a sculpt included, already painted, and you buy a body separate, and then you take the body and you put the clothing on it and you put the sculpt on it, and then it's done. That is called a kit bash. You didn't do anything to it except put it together. That's a kit bash. A custom would be buying a sculpt, painting it yourself, whatever, or just buying a sculpt, painting it, buying the clothing yourself, weathering the clothing, buying the body, painting the body, adding the different, like if you're adding blood to it or you're painting the veins or whatever, then putting it all together. That is called a custom figure, because everything on it is your work. Yes, you bought the clothing, but you still weathered it and dirtied it up, or you made it more screen accurate, so therefore it is still your work. Then there are full customs that come from people who not only make their own sculpts, but they make their own clothing, or they commission their own clothing line. Those are full customs. So you have kit bashes, you have customs, and you have a full custom. So that is the difference. Nothing in my collection that I have done personally is a kit bash. Everything is a custom. Now, if you have a figure that you bought from somebody that was painted by them or painted by somebody else and has clothing on it and it's weathered and stuff, you have a custom figure. If you have one in your collection that basically you can find on eBay and all you have to do is buy the clothing and put the head, that's a kit bash. Another perfect example of a kit bash is if you go on eBay right now, there are John Wick sculpts and clothing sets. I think they're like $100, but it comes with a body, it comes with the clothing, and it comes with a sculpt already painted and everything. You put it together and you have a John Wick. That is a kit bash. That is not a custom figure. So that is the big difference. There's nothing wrong with kit bashes. Kit bashes to me are made for people who don't paint, don't want to paint, can't paint. Those are what those are for. Or people that can't afford Hot Toys, but they want the character. Well, that's an easy way to get the character. That's a kit bash. So that's the big difference. It's just, we're going into almost 30 minutes. I'm guessing no one's going to chime in or everybody must be asleep. Like I said, don't really know how this streaming thing really works. I wish I could figure out how to get more people involved in it. But anyway, so yeah, that is really what kit bash is in custom. That's the difference. So I guess the next thing I'll talk about is painting. Now, I can't paint on camera. I've tried it before. I made a whole video. It was like a 50-minute video, but I didn't like how it came out, so I never posted it. But I cannot work on camera, because if I could, I would continue working on the sculpt right now, but I can't do it. But the paints I use are just normal paints that you find at like Walmart. They're acrylic. I don't paint with anything else. Just normal acrylic paints from Walmart or Target, wherever else you can find them. I don't have an art store around here anywhere close. The nearest one is like a 40-minute drive. I don't feel like ordering anything offline because it takes too long to get stuff. So basically, I just buy my own stuff from Walmart. Now, the one thing I will have to order, I have to buy online, is called Doling spray. I haven't been able to find this in a store, period. Walmart doesn't carry it. Lowe's doesn't carry it. I went to the art store the other day because we were heading that way, and I stopped in. They don't even carry it. The only place I've been able to find it is online. But I live in a small town, so we don't have that much. And that's basically when you're finished painting your sculpts, you spray that on, and what it does is it takes the shine off of it so it looks more realistic and not plasticky. Trying to think what else I can show you guys. The hair that I use, lamb's hair is what they call it, doll hair, whatever. There is one thing I'm working on right now. It's a prop more than anything. So I bought this journal. I'm a big, huge Supernatural fan, and I like to collect props from certain movies and shows. So this is from Conquest Journals, and it's a replica of John Winchester's journal from Supernatural. Now, what I've done, I don't know if it's going to show up or not, but I've gone in and I've dyed the leather a little bit darker, and I've added some like dirt and weathered it to make it look kind of old and used. And basically, I went in and I printed some photos of John and Sam and Dean. And then I printed a photo of John and Mary as, when they were young. I know they're not in color, but I can't get the color printer to work for some reason. So this works. I have to buy the medals for the journal, and I got to get a rosary, and I've got about 40 more pages coming in the mail sometime next week to make the journal thicker. I got to buy a clipboard for the back of it, glue it in, because there was a clipboard in the show in the back. And basically, this is just a replica of John Winchester's journal. So he wrote in the journal. Then you have like the monster lore pages. You got pages in here from like letters that John asked about the fire that burned his house down, demonology stuff, really good stuff. And then I bought some custom pages, which is supposed to be from Sam and Dean. So basically, these are pages like if Sam and Dean were continuing to write in their dad's journal with each event that comes their way, keeping notes of stuff like Eve and the yellow-eyed demon and the devil's trap, Lucifer, stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've got more pages coming, some newspaper clippings coming. So my journal's going to be really cool when it's done. I'm going to make it as screen accurate as possible. But for $35, this is not a bad thing. So if you're a Supernatural fan, I highly recommend getting one of these. They're really good. That's really about it, guys. I guess no one's going to join in on the conversation. Maybe next time we can get somebody, get some people involved. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. I just wanted to talk to you guys about some custom stuff, and I've got some more stuff coming in the works. Don't know when I'll get to them, but they're coming. Like I said, the customers' stuff comes first. If anybody's interested in any commissions, I am open, mostly for paint jobs. I will do full figures of certain characters because I can't lie to you and tell you hey, I can do every character, because there's just not clothing for every character, and it would cost quite a bit to get clothing made for certain characters. So you'd have to hit me up and sit and we come up with something. I think my prices are pretty fair. I won't discuss them here. You can hit me up, leave me a comment. Hit me up at on Facebook under Autobot John. It's pretty easy to find me. Just look for me standing in front of Superman. Keep doing your thing. To all the aspiring artists out there, man, just keep at it. To all my friends, hope you can join me next time. God bless, and